Hello everyone, this is my last video reviewing the Epson Runsense SF-810 running watch, and for this video I'm going to wrap up my findings after having used this watch for the last couple of months and list the pros and cons that I found. So the watch itself, I am generally happy with it. It's a good watch. It's well built. It's well designed. It feels very solid and very light at the same time. So they've achieved quite a good product in that respect. It is to me the best feature, I have to say, is the fact that I can actually use this as an everyday watch, keep it on my wrist. Go to the boathouse at the end of the day and, oh, let's go for a run. Oh, I forgot my Garmin at home. No, in this case, I always have it with me, so I can always go out for a run easily, no problem. And plus, since I'm logging my commutes by bike or things like that, I don't need to bring my Garmin on purpose. I can just have this one. So in that case, in these usage scenarios, this is a good watch, and this is something I would be happy to continue using. The GPS, again, comparing it against my 310 XT, my Garmin, I feel that it locks faster, which is obviously a very good thing, especially when you're running in the winter. You don't want to really be outside shivering, waiting until you can start your run, waiting for the thing to lock. You just want to press the button, wait a couple of seconds, it chirps back to life and says, oh, good, let's go. And normally, I would say 9 out of 10 times, that's how it does it. So it's not more than a couple of seconds, which is, it's quite good, I have to say. And the other thing that I really enjoy is the fact that the pace, the instant pace, it's not fluctuating that much. Obviously, it fluctuates, it responds to how hard I'm running, but with the Garmin, I always have a feeling that the pace judders quite a bit in a very broad range, so I have to actually look at my average splits to see how hard I'm running. With this one, the reading is pretty stable. I don't know if they have any sort of smoothing algorithm or if just the sampling of the GPS signal is higher. I don't know, but it works much better than in my Garmin. And obviously the other interesting thing about this is, again, that is linked with my everyday watch and not having to carry a lot of kit with me all the time, is the fact that this offers more metrics on a single package, because obviously it has the optical heart rate monitor, which, well, it has its limitations, obviously. It's not a perfect system, but so it's not the chest strap. You have to wash it on a regular basis. You have to ensure that it's kind of moist until it actually contacts. I've had occasions where my heart rate just disappears midway through the run or midway through an erg session. So obviously in this case there are other things that need to be focused on, but it's one less piece of kit that you don't have to worry about because it's already built in. And obviously there's the accelerometer, which then provides additional metrics such as stride and pitch, which are obviously much welcome. And in addition, I haven't tested this because I couldn't find a large enough tunnel. The fact that if I'm running and the GPS signal suddenly disappears, I will still have metrics regarding pace, because you will use the accelerometric data, work out based on my history, my pitch. It will work out how fast I'm running and how much further I'm running, rather than just interpolating the data between the point where I lost the signal and I reconnected the signal with the GPS. So that's an interesting idea, which unfortunately I wasn't able to test because there aren't that many tunnels around here, I'm afraid. It's quite flat. So that is obviously the other good point I have to say. I mean, after seeing some of the other video reviews left by other users, some people were complaining about the battery, about the fact that there is no low battery warning, and that is a bit of an annoyance. So once the last bar disappears, you don't really know how much you got. But at the same time, I was used to charging my Garmin on a fairly regular basis, and this one, I mean, you can just get home, plug it in. You have to connect it to the computer to transfer your data anyway, because through the mobile app, I'm going to get to that in a bit, but through the mobile app is not the best way. So obviously you would be charging it. So I mean, having a 10-hour or 15-hour or 16-hour, whatever the reported, I think it might be even more. To me, if it lasted 10 hours straight, it wouldn't worry me that much. So yeah, and obviously if I'm not using the heart rate monitor, and if I'm not using the GPS, and I use it as a normal watch, as it is the case for 99% of my day, or 90% at least, it's absolutely fine. It's not burning that much battery. Right, now the not so good parts of it. As I was gonna get to it, the mobile app. I mean, it's a very good concept, because I mean, if you want to change specific settings, you don't really want to be circling through all the menus looking for them, because I mean, this is never going to be. I'm not a big fan of touch interfaces in devices like this, because obviously you want to be able to operate them in the dark, and tactile feedback and while running, and tactile feedback always wins. So touch interface is never a good thing. And so you're left with buttons, and you know that you cannot cram loads of buttons in here. So obviously to access more advanced functions and program it and set things, it would be nice if you could do it externally and then upload the settings to the watch. And Epson has tried to do it, but unfortunately their mobile app is a bit flawed. And not only, well, I would say design-wise, it's not bad. To me, really what annoys me is the lag. It's supposed to be Bluetooth, okay, but Bluetooth for low energy, but still, it could connect a bit quicker. It could, you wait a long time to get the things, and it fails sometimes. You need to force Android to reconnect it. I think parts of the problem are due to the fact that I'm using an Android device, even though they officially support it. But I've heard people complaining about it as well on iOS, so it's not just down to Android. And effectively, that really, having this feature and then not being able to use it properly, it's a bit of an annoyance. And obviously the other interesting feature is the fact that you can actually upload straight from your phone into the web. So you just finish your run, you come back home, or you're away, you're on holiday or something, and you don't happen to have your computer with you, and you just finish your run, you connect it to your phone, and it uploads to the cloud. That's great. You can watch your metrics. The problem is, it is very slow, and it really puts me off doing it. I'd rather wait until I get home and then I upload, especially if I have multiple workouts to upload, because on the mobile interface you can only upload one at a time. You cannot even do a batch upload, whereas in the computer you just connect it and it lists all the different workouts, and you just tick a whole bunch of them, you click the button, and off it goes. So it's exactly the kind of functionality I need. And in that respect, the companion app for the PC is actually quite well accomplished, because it's simple. You just log on, you put your credentials, connects it, it chirps the watch chirps, you press a button, and it uploads. Zoom, done. It works. No bells and whistles, no complicated setups. Unfortunately, there is no Linux version. And that, to me, obviously, this is a complaint that perhaps many of the people that have reviewed the Epson won't have. because they won't be Linux users. But to me, having such a simple little app meant that perhaps they could have done a little bit of development into porting it, at least into the major distributions. I'm talking Fedora and Ubuntu, which are the major ones. It wouldn't have hurt much, and you would have won kudos from the 0.5% of target users who would have had access to one of these watches, and maybe, I don't know, convinced some Linux users that were looking on the market looking for a watch that, oh, this one has Linux compatibility, so I'm going for this one. Anyway, that is probably a bit too much to ask, but I will say it anyway. The other thing is, obviously, getting the data out, and I've spoken about the additional metrics that this watch provides, which are quite interesting, because I had never had a watch that provided, as I said before, stride and pitch measurements. So it would be nice if I could just get the data out of their own interface, because I log my workouts in my own software, because I have multiple devices, i.e. I have the Garmin, I have the Ergos in the boathouse, I have other devices that I use to log my trainings, and so obviously I'm not stuck to a specific interface from a specific brand, so I have everything offline actually. And what I find is, with the Garmin, you just connect it. I have again, Garmin also doesn't support Linux, so in that respect, we are in equal stands here, Epson. But on the other hand, because it's much more established, that meant that some people have managed to, and because they are based on a sort of an industry standard, they are using ANT+, it means that people have been able to write software which runs on Linux, third-party software, to get the data out of the watch. And because it's an industry standard, you just get the file out and you put it on the software. With the Epson, not so much. I mean, even they have a Strava export function, which works. It exports to Strava automatically, even though I always have to authorize and publish my workouts manually. But it doesn't export all the data. And much to my annoyance, I mean, the web interface, Epson's web interface, which I have to say, design-wise, it's not that bad, really. And it has some very nice features, such as you are able to batch export multiple workouts, which to me is really a good feature, because obviously I'm going to put them on my offline software. And obviously I can do a batch export, and but the problem is that batch export is not going to export all the metrics. So I have the stride, the cadence, everything in there on the web interface, but it doesn't get exported on the GPX file. And again, the heart rate doesn't get exported either. I have to go through Strava to get the heart rate information out and put it on my... So it's not a problem of my software reading the GPX file, because if I export it with Strava, I get that metric. It's a problem of their own web interface. So some work to be done there, Epson. And obviously this is something I have mentioned before. Okay, the watch interface could be a bit more polished. There's a couple of interface niggles, but to be honest with you, it's not that bad. It's one of those things that once you start using a product and you get used to its niggles, and so it's not the end of the world. The actual watch interface, some of the features are actually quite nice. Some of the features could do with a little bit of tinkering, but again, this is only software, and this can be easily sorted with software updates. It's nothing. Epson, you're still well in time. You can just issue a little software update, you fix all of these issues, and you're done. Because people that have bought your product already, they would have in their hands quite a good high quality piece of hardware. The GPS chip is good, the battery is good, the design, the light, the weight, the feature set, everything is fine. Really, it's a good watch. It's really the software that lets it down, and that my concern has been voiced by many other people that have reviewed the watch at the same time or before me. Really, fix these little software niggles and you will have a great product. And that's all I can say, really. I mean, I'm happy that I will be able to keep this because, again, I like using it. It's a good watch. But address these and you will have one happy customer. Right. Over and out, and thank you for listening. Have a great evening.